Good evening, Greg here, burning both ends, burning on the back end of Tuesday. It's 11:36 p.m. Pacific. It is the 6th of November, 2018. Election day was today. Hopefully you voted. I certainly did. And the way that I vote, I like to do it first thing in the morning, because if I wait till like later in the day gets away from me and then I'm scrambling at the end. So dropped my kids off at school, went right to the polling station, which was right near my kids' schools. Easy peasy. Now voting was easy, but the issues, I have to say, like, it takes a lot of research to understand these things. And even with a lot of research, it still don't fully understand a lot of these, like the long-term effects on some of these propositions. I mean, like, I remember one, it said something about like, it's like an $80 million per year thing that we have to pay back for 35 years. I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot of money. It would be great to have that kind of salary, wouldn't it? Anyway, so did do my voting, so was real proud of that. And let's see what else happened. Went to the dentist today, and I have to say, one of the things that I have really good genes are teeth. I have very few cavities, and I'm so lucky about that, because I think I took pretty bad care of my teeth as a kid. But anyway, we're lucky to have good teeth. So very important. Find out when your teeth start hurting. That's when you find out what how much you really take for granted the fact that I take for granted the fact that I have teeth and they work so well. So, but I do want to talk about the conversation I want to light up tonight is about my men's team meeting. Had my men's team meeting tonight, and the big topic was one of our men. He turned 71 this week, and we'll just call him Ed. So Ed turned 71 this week. And I got two interesting pieces of information that came out of Ed. So we had a little celebration for Ed, and we kind of gave him a platform to say a few things. So I'm gonna pull from his little speech, his impromptu speech, because it was not prepared at all. His perspective and then his advice, and it's very interesting the way that he said it, right? So his perspective. So he's been part of the men's team since 1996. So 22 some odd years. That's a lot of time. And, in that time, a lot of men come and go from the circle. I've been part of the circle, this circle here in the East Bay since 2010 when we moved out here. I did my weekend December 2009. So my first year was in Baltimore. I was part of a men's team. And anyway, so his perspective was like, so he's been doing this for 22 years, and he's just like, the events that he experiences, he has like consistent experiences, but with different like teams of men. And it's interesting for him, like the way he described it, how, like, I guess when he turned 61, they threw a party for him, and it was like a similar experience to what he had tonight, but just a whole different group of men, which is, and you can imagine over the years, kind of like all the details kind of run together, and who was at what meeting and what year and all that stuff. And especially when you got a couple of decades to remember, you can imagine that some things get jumbled. And so it was just interesting to hear him kind of like comment on kind of just the interesting experience it is to have that huge block of time and to have all these different men be part of it. And then, of course, now, he's one of the older men on the team. He might be the oldest man on the team. And so now we have some young men coming through, and so like they're the future, and it's interesting to see his perspective on that and how he reflects on it. And it's something that we all will only get as we age, right? Just like, I just had a birthday myself. I just turned 41, so I look at my daughters who are 8 and 4, and I'm like, wow, imagine the knowledge I have now if I could have had that when I was that age. Even that's a little bit young, but even like when I was 15, right? Just like the patience thing, the perspective thing, just kind of understanding how anything really worthwhile is going to take a lot of hard work, and it's okay. It's okay if it takes a while, and it's okay if you screw it up and you fail, and like these things. But anyway, so his advice. This is interesting. So his advice though was interesting because it coincides beautifully with what Gary Vee talks about. So as you know, I'm a huge fan of Gary Vee. And one of his things, is, talk to old people, the elderly, and, one of the common themes is regret, right? Regret for not taking more chances, for not, trying harder or pushing harder or following a dream or, and I also like what Gary says about, and also I know this because I'm into technology, I'm an engineer. It's just, as we progress with healthcare, we are definitely going to live longer. In fact, I just had a conversation with someone that has a real keen insight into some of the really crazy advances like in biotech, and it's kind of getting a little scary how it looks like in the next 50 years or so we could have a substantial increase in our how long we live and our longevity. I mean, right now, you figure 80-ish is where we're at, and so you can still be like fighting the fight at 60, right? You can still be in great health, just crushing it, still trying new things at 60. Where, I think 50 years ago, that age was probably 40, right? And now it's like 60. I'm totally making this up, so I could be way off, but this is just what my gut says. And just, the people I know and the people I see and what they're doing and what I'm doing. But imagine if that number turns into like 100, right? So this age where you can still be doing stuff is like 90 or 100 or something, and people die at like 120, 130. I mean, this is where things are heading, and it's interesting. It's like, do we really want that extra? I mean, I think we do. I mean, I think it would just kind of, I don't know. I mean, that would be crazy if the new kind of age where you pass is 120, and so if you're like 90, you still have like 30 years left. That would be like being like 50 or 60, right? I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, I'm digressing a bit. Let me pull back to the advice from Ed, and how it coincided beautifully with what Gary Vee says. Regret, and that was Ed's advice. Ed's advice was, try things, do things, push yourself, work each day hard, so that way when you're going to sleep at night, you're falling asleep right away because you're so exhausted from pushing. And that was his advice, and I think that the root of that is definitely regret. And I'm not saying that Ed has regret. I'm just saying that there's like an element of regret in that advice, right? It's like, do these things, try these things, because when you get to be my age, or when your hips start going on you, or you can't walk around as much, you can't move as fast, things start falling off you or whatever, you slow down, you can't help it. And so while you're young, while you're active and you got energy, try these things. And that was his advice. And I really appreciated that, because this is a huge piece. Excuse me. A little more bubbly here. This is a huge piece of like kind of what, like where I'm at right now, like where I was at the beginning of the year, and just looking at my life, and kind of, once again, I'll go back to Gary Vee, and it's just, he's such a huge influence in my life. It's really rather amazing how in just this 1 year, hasn't even been a year yet, how much things have changed, and how much I've really moved forward and been able to accelerate things. That's been one of my big motivations, is this, like, don't have regret. Like, just do it. Don't worry about sleeping right now, right? Sleeping is not so important. I mean, it's important, of course, but I'm still on this mantra: sleep is overrated. I'm still, just kind of just really grinding and just pushing myself to see what I can, what can I accomplish, right? And I have to say, it's working. It's interesting. It's of course I fall into these ruts and kind of get, I don't know if I call it depressed, might be a heavy word, but just kind of down, like, really, should I be doing this? Blah blah blah, like that kind of a questioning thing. And so, and actually, I kind of had that self-discussion today. You know, should I be doing the 9 to 5 and the side hustle? You know, I got 2 kids, blah blah. You know, all this stuff. You know, what about the things I really love doing, like drums? I haven't been doing a lot of drums at all. I love drums, you know, but part of my push right now is to create opportunities for myself in a year or 2 or 3 or 4 where I'll have time for drums. Right now, it's really hard to get it in. You know, we're still trying to balance the finances. Living in the East Bay, it's very expensive here. I love the area though, but yeah, still working on some things. But definitely, I have to say this year has been a game changer for me personally, and I'm really excited about that. And actually, Ed, let me circle back to Ed and close on Ed. Ed, I've known Ed since 2010, and you know, he's been a huge influence in my life, I have to say. And I really appreciate him, and I really just, you know, appreciate what he said tonight about perspective, about advice, and yeah, and I'm taking it to action. I'm doing it. I want to look back at, you know, 20 years from now, excuse me, I want to look back on this time and be like, no regrets. I loved what I did. I loved that I pushed so hard. You know, because then am I really going to care if I only got like 5 hours of sleep a night for, I don't know, a couple of years or whatever it is, a decade even, right? I mean, is that really going to matter 20 years from now? I just don't think so. But you know what's going to matter? You know, the experiences that I have, you know, the fulfillment, the impact, you know, helping people, and this is also what I love about where I'm at in both my 9 to 5 and side hustle, is how I'm really, my full job is being of service to other people. Right? I'm project managing these projects. All I do is talk to the scientists, talk to the technicians, talk to the machinists, talk to the folks that are going to help build all this stuff, get their opinions, and try to like squeeze them all together in some coherent plan. That's all I'm doing. I mean, it sounds simple. It actually takes a lot of work. You know, it's in theory it's simple. And then with Fundraise Up, all I'm doing is trying to help nonprofits raise more money, and just trying to show them, hey, there's a tool that you can use that might work. We've made it really easy to try out. Give it a try. If it works, keep it. If not, throw it away. I'll even say that. I'll be like, if it doesn't work, throw it away. Don't use it. That's kind of how we designed it. We designed it so that way it's easy to try, and it's easy to tell if it works. So, yeah. So Ed, thank you, sir. Thanks for being just awesome. Just being in the men's circle, being 71, being Ed, giving the kind of perspective and advice that you did. Really appreciate it. And I will wrap there. So yeah, this is all about my journey as an aspiring entrepreneur, about my life experiences, about the things I'm seeing, the things I'm doing. So if you like what you hear, comment down below. Would love to hear what you got to say. If you have any questions or you need any help, please ask. I'd love to help. I want to be of service. I got quite the network, been building it up this whole year. So please let me put it to work. I'll do my best for you. In the description, there are some great links. I have to admit that it's definitely getting stale down there. I will work on it. I promise. Kind of like what I say every time I cut and paste that. I'm like, I really should update this. I'm like, you know what? Let someone comment and tell me to put something new there. But anyway, great. Some great links down there. The beat in the background is by G Money, my alter ego. I write these beats. They're on SoundCloud. Check them out if you like that kind of thing. Other than that, it's time for bed. It's time to get some shut-eye. Got some getting up tomorrow. Got a call tomorrow. Got some work in the morning. Work before work. And that's about it. So get some good rest. Wake up tomorrow, crush it, light it up, inspire folks, do great things, and I will end you in the morning.